Welcome to this on-demand webinar, Getting Started with Custom Charts. For the agenda, you'll learn what Custom Charts is, and you'll get to see it in action. We'll create a custom chart, a simple search, and an issue list right on a Jira dashboard. At the end of the webinar, you'll learn about the integrations with other Tempo apps, including Timesheets and Structure. Some quick items to note before we get started with the webinar. First, because this is an on-demand webinar, you can skip ahead to specific sections of the webinar that interest you. If you have any questions as you're going through the webinar, please reach out to Tempo support and we can help you out. Last, at the end of the webinar are going to be learning resources that you can use to help you take your next steps with custom charts. So let's get started. So what is custom charts? Custom charts is Tempo's premier reporting tool. It allows you to take your Jira data and either display it on a Jira dashboard, or if you're using custom charts in Confluence, you can build reports using Jira data on a Confluence page. Custom charts is known for its ease of use. It doesn't require any knowledge of coding or Jira query language to build it out, and it's very intuitive. You're simply selecting from dropdowns, checking boxes, and using its intuitive setup to build your charts. Compared to the out-of-the-box reporting options in Jira, Custom Charts allows for a lot of customization capability. You can change your chart colors, you have several different chart types to choose from, you can also rename, group, and hide segments if you'd like. Custom Charts also is able to access fields from other marketplace add-ons, including several of the other apps that Tempo makes. Last, you can dynamically filter charts using Simple Search, which we'll take a look at building later on in this webinar. You can display time and status, and display the history of certain fields as they've changed on a Jira issue. Now, looking at custom charts from a broader perspective and seeing it as a solution, we've mentioned some common problems that companies face that the app can help solve. The first one is enterprise-level reporting for companies at scale. As I mentioned before, it's super easy to build reports in custom charts, and it can access data from across Jira projects. So if you are a bigger organization and you're wanting to see how everything is going across the entire company, you're able to quickly and easily do that with custom charts. The out-of-box reporting options in Jira do have some limitations, and some of the other apps for reporting in the marketplace have a steep learning curve. Custom charts is so intuitive that you can build reports in minutes, and there's a wide range of customization options. As I mentioned before, you can change your chart colors, group and rename segments, but you can also add descriptions to charts and pick from different chart types. One big piece too about fields we can access is you can take data from Jira Service Management projects and display those on reports as well. Some of those fields include service level agreements, request types, and organizations. Last, from a project management perspective, custom charts future-proofs your options to grow. Since we're a part of Tempo, we offer a larger line of SPM products. We also offer enterprise support. Custom Charts comes with several different gadgets, or if you're using the Confluence app, many different macros that you can use to get the most out of your Jira reporting. The 4 gadgets in Jira are Custom Charts, Simple Search, Issue List, and Shared Dashboards. The first 3, Custom Charts, Simple Search, and Issue List, can also be used in our Confluence app. Let's discuss some of the ways that custom charts can help your teams. Let's talk about some common questions that your teams may be having that custom charts can help answer. The first one is, are there any bottlenecks in the team workflow? Is your workload even balanced across the team? You can build specific reports and custom charts to answer these questions. The first one you can build is a report that shows time and status. This will allow you to see how much time Jira issues are spending in each status to see if there are any bottlenecks in your process. For example, if you're displaying the time and status across all of the issues in Jira and you have a block status, if your issues are spending days and days in that status, that could be a big holdup for your teams. You can then open up those issues that are in that block status quickly from the report directly and see what the holdup is there. So hopefully you can get them moving through the workflow again. The second piece is the workload balanced? Understanding this will help with resource management. We can use a report to visualize the number of issues that are assigned to each user, and we could see if anybody on our team is taking on way more work than someone else. If we can see across the team that all of our team members have a ton of issues in flight at once, that could mean that the team is starting to get burnt out and we need to add another resource to the team to help even out the workflow a little bit. The second one has to do specifically with Jira Service Management data. We can build reports to gauge the health of our customers. Are they satisfied with our response times? Are they satisfied with the services our team is providing? Is the team responding to requests in a timely manner? Using JSM data and custom charts, if you are gathering feedback at the end of your interactions with customers, you can build reports and custom charts that show the average CSAT score for our team or by each team member. You can also build reports to understand if the team is meeting its SLA goals. We can also use this a little bit as resource management. If our team is consistently not responding in a timely manner, it very well could be that we just don't have enough resources to help with all of the customer needs that we have. The last one is we can see common request types that our customers submit to us. This will help us to understand the needs of our customers a little bit more and potentially even enhance our products if our customers are consistently having issues with the same thing. So in our demo after this, we'll take a little bit of a closer look at how Custom Charts integrates with other Tempo apps. We'll take a look at structure and how to create reports using existing structures as the source. We'll also briefly talk about the Timesheets integration. Other marketplace apps that Custom Charts integrates with are X-Ray Test Management for Jira, Script Runner for Jira, Assets for Jira, and more. Okay, let's move on to the demo portion. In the demo portion of this webinar, you're going to learn how to add and set up the Custom Charts gadget, the Issue List gadget, and the Simple Search gadget. Just as a note, if you're using Custom Charts in Confluence, everything you learned today will be applicable there as well. The major difference is that you'll be adding these items as macros on a page instead of as gadgets. So to get started with Custom Charts, you have to be able to create a dashboard in Jira. So that's just up here. You would click Create Dashboard. So once you create a dashboard, you can then start adding custom charts and all of our gadgets to the dashboard. So I've got my company dashboard here, and I'm looking to create reports that show how things are going across my projects in Jira. What are the status of issues across my projects, for example? So the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is click Add a New Gadget. This will pull up the gadget search, and then if I type in custom charts, you can see the 4 gadgets, I'm in Jira Cloud, that you can add to a dashboard. In this webinar, we're only going to look at custom charts, issue list, and simple search. So to get started, I'm going to add the custom charts gadget. So I'll just click Add, and I'm going to close the gadget searcher out and expand the custom charts gadget so that I can see all of its settings clearly. So when you're first working with custom charts and you add it to a dashboard, you are going to see this getting started screen. We highly recommend reviewing this briefly, especially if you're new to this, because it may save you a little bit of time. For example, we have some really great tips and tricks over here, some tutorials as well. And then a big thing to notice is this Use Existing Template button right here. One really cool thing about custom charts is that it does ship with some templates that are pretty common reports that customers need. So if you click Use Existing Template right here, you'll see a list of report templates that come with custom charts. And if you click Use next to it, it will load the setup of the chart for you so that all you have to do is plug in which Jira project, for example, you want to display issues from, and then just customize it. So you see we've got some really great ones here. So definitely check here first to make sure that we don't already have a template for a report that you're trying to build, because that'll save you some time. I'm going to build one from scratch today. And as a note, if you do create your own templates, you can save those as well. So you can reuse them at any point. All right, so I'm going to exit out. And here I have a blank slate custom chart gadget. The first thing I have to do to build this out is set the source of the chart. So this drop down here has some options, and what you select here will determine which Jira issues get displayed on this report. So you've got some basic options here. You can choose projects, and that will allow you to choose one or really any Jira project that you have access to in your instance, and it will display the issues in those projects on the chart. It does honor your Jira permissions, so you have to be able to see the project and its issues in order to select it from the dropdown that will appear right here. If you want to choose a save filter, maybe you've made a nice filter that only displays blocked issues, you can click Save Filters, and in your dropdown, you can select the filter. Now, again, this does relate to your Jira permissions, so you have to be able to see the filter in order to use it as the source. And then the last option is custom JQL. So if you like writing Jira query language statements, you can click this option and you get your JQL search bar right here. Any issues that meet that JQL searches criteria will be displayed on the chart. These last two options we're going to talk about later in the webinar. I want to select projects and I'm going to just check a bunch off. And it's going to pull in issues across these projects. You can either click out of the dropdown or click search for it to tell you how many issues it's going to display. So there will be 191 issues on this report. However, you see there's still not a visualization yet. I have to choose my chart type and then set up 1 to 2 more data points in order for something to show up in this live preview here. First is a chart type. So you'll see over here, I have options as far as 1D and 2-dimensional charts. We do categorize them by their chart type. For this example, I said that I wanted to build a chart that displays the issues across my projects by their status. So that's 2 data points I want to focus on. I want to see the issues by project as well as their status. So I'm going to pick a 2D stacked bar chart. And you'll notice right now a pie chart is selected and you only see one option for a data point up here. But as soon as I pick a 2D chart, you'll see 2 options appear. So we're going to review both of those. Now, if you had just chosen a simple pie chart, you would only see 1 data point or 1 dropdown up here to select from. So your chart by dropdown is going to start to build the segments of your chart. It's going to be a Jira data point that you choose. So you can either choose a field. If you want to get a little bit more advanced, you can actually build your segments with custom JQL. You can also, if you want to, display things like time and status. So if you type that in, you can see it here. And you can do issue history if you want. We also access Jira Service Management fields. So fields like any of your service level agreements. So there's time to resolution, and then request type is also one we can display here. Now, I wanted to see the status of issues in each project. I want my vertical bars on this 2D stack bar chart to be the issues in each project. And then within each bar, I want it to be grouped by their statuses. So for this particular value, I'm going to type in project. This will then show the issues in each project for the vertical bars. My group by is that second data point. So it's going to group the data in each vertical bar. So I said I wanted to do status, so it's right at the top. So once I select that, you see it now groups the issues in each project by their status, and the colors represent those statuses. Okay, so I actually can click Save Gadget right now. What that will do is add this to the dashboard, and then once I hit Done at the top, that will publish the dashboard's updates so that anybody with access to this can see my new report. However, if my team comes to this dashboard, they're not really going to understand what this report is trying to convey. So I'm going to give it a little bit more context before I walk into most of the customizations that you can do to make this report more your own. I'm going to go to the details section here, and you see I can add a chart title. You can also update this title up here, so wherever you want to put it is fine, but if you want to have it show up right above the report, this is where you would do it. So this chart is going to show the status of issues by project. You can adjust the alignment of this as well. Like if you want it to be on the right, for example, you can move it over. You can also add a description to your chart and determine where that will sit as well. your live preview is going to adjust as you make a lot of these updates. So if you want to add a description, and I'm just going to type in a few words so you can see how it looks. You see it automatically sits at the bottom of the report, but you can adjust where it is. You can also change the formatting of the description with colors, with bold text. There's a lot of options here. I don't want a description on this chart though. It's pretty straightforward, and both of these items are optional. So the next thing I'm going to do is walk through some customizations that you have for your chart by and group by values. The chart by tab is going to relate directly to what you selected for the chart by value. So let's say you wanted to change the name of one of the segments on the chart, like this design project. Maybe your teams don't need to know that it's a business waterfall project when they look at this chart. You can change the name of the segment. So if you click this little pencil icon here, it gives you a text box where you can kind of shorten this a bit or make it whatever you want. So if you just hit enter after you've put in the new item, you see it updates in your live preview. You can do that for all of the segments. You can reorder them as well. You can like move things up and down by dragging and dropping. And you can also combine segments. To do that, you would just click the plus sign next to the segment, find the ones you want to group it with, select them, and then it will do that for you. You can also hide segments if you want with the eyeball icon here. All right, so I'm going to go to the Group By tab because in two-dimensional charts, this is where you can change the colors on the chart. Now, if this were a one-dimensional chart, you would see the color pickers on your Chart By tab. But because this is a 2D chart, we use the colors to group the data in each segment. So my company has branding that's orange, green, and purple. So I want to change the to-do status to be purple. I'm going to click the color picker and then I'll select this purple color here, and you see it updates it in your live preview. Now, if you don't see the color here that you want, you can always copy and paste a hex code in here, or you can use this sliding scale to really get granular with this. So a couple of options I'll briefly cover before we save this and move on to the next gadget are the Calculations tab and the Display Options tab. The Calculations tab, you can open it from up here or you can click it here, but this allows you to change how the data is measured on your chart. So by default, Custom Charts is going to tally up the number of issues that meet your chart by and group by values. However, if you want to change this, maybe your team is doing sprints and you want to see average story points, for example, you can flip this to sum or average and it will change that measurement for you. So it does default to average story points, but maybe you want average time spent, something like that. Any date field or number field that lives in your Jira instance will be accessible in your calculations dropdown. I'm gonna go back to issue count though. A new feature about custom charts is with these measurements here. So if you choose sum or average, you'll notice in the second dropdown, you also have additional calculations that you can customize. So if you want to add or subtract values from each other, you can choose this custom calculation, or you can do custom progress. All right, but I'm gonna go back to issue count. And then last, before I save this, is I'm going to show you the display options. So we won't walk through all of these, but pretty much any other customization can be found in your display options. So for example, I love horizontal grid lines on my report because it really shows a nice height comparison between the different bars. I can turn this on with this toggle here. You can change your axis and labels look. You can choose to hide or show your legend, and you can even adjust number and date formats here. All right, so I'm going to click Save Gadget. And there we go. We now have a custom chart on the dashboard that shows the status of issues by project. All right, so I'm going to make this a single column because I want to add the issue list gadget right here. So I'm going to click Add a New Gadget, and if you type in Custom Charts, it'll pull it up, but you can also type in Issue List and it'll narrow this down to only show that one. I'll click Add and start building out my Issue List gadget. So the issue list gadget allows you to display your Jira data as a list on the dashboard. It's really nice because you can just give your users a kind of a more detailed view around the issues their team is working on without having to navigate to the view all issues section of Jira. It can just live on the dashboard with the reports. A lot of this setup is going to look familiar to you. So you have to set your source and you can choose projects, save filters, custom JQL, same options as before. I'm going to do projects again and I'll select my projects. All right, so I've got 198 issues on this list. And you can see it's displaying them all with certain Jira fields as columns on the list. So by default, we do set these fields for you as columns, but on the right-hand side here in this columns tab, you can adjust what shows here. Let's say for some reason you don't want the assignee field, you just find that field and click the little trash can next to it and you see it removes it from the list. I actually do want this on there, so I'm going to click add another field. You can either click it here or here. Depending which one you click will determine its position as a column on the list. So if you add it at the bottom, it'll be a column here after your fields. And then if you add it up here, it'll be a column at the front of the list. I'll click add another field down here and I'll just type in my field. So there we go. Now, I've got some really basic fields on here, but this will allow you to add in any custom fields you may have. If you've got some fields from add-ons, those will show typically as well. And you can throw in like date and number fields too. I also want to see the priority of issues across these projects. So I'm going to click add another field, and in the drop-down, I'll type in priority and select it. And there we have it. All right, so I could save this right now. Once again, I just click Save Gadget. It will add the list to the dashboard. And then once I click Done, the issue list will also be included in what's published for my viewers. There are a couple things, though, that are really neat about issue list that you might find also helpful when you are creating this. The first one is smart labels. So this feature only exists on issue list. And what it allows you to do is create labels that then get tacked on to any issue that meets that label's criteria. And you can use JQL or a save filter to set that criteria. So to add a smart label, I'll just click this and it throws in the build out down here. And again, here's your save filter option, but I'm going to build one from scratch because I actually want to make some labels for high priority issues. I want those to really stand out on my list. So I'm going to choose Add Custom JQL Smart Label. And then in the JQL search bar right here, I'll do priority equals high and hit enter. And you see it throws a smart label onto these issues with a high priority. Now, this doesn't look very nice right now, so I'm going to go ahead and customize this a little bit so it looks cleaner. I'm going to change its name right here, and I'm going to enter high priority issues in here, and you see I've now changed that name. And then I'm going to change its color with this little tag right here. I'll click it, and then I want this to be red to stand out, so I'll pick red, and there we go. We have a smart label. So you can do this with any field, essentially any field that you can access with a JQL query. All right, so the second really cool feature that is not in the custom charts gadget, but it really is nice for issue list, are quick filters. So if you click this, what you can do is either add a saved Jira filter that you've already made, or you can write a JQL query right in the gadget and build out filters that then will show up at the top of the list. So your users can come to the list, click on the quick filter, and it will automatically update the list to only show issues that meet whatever JQL criteria you set for either of these. So I actually want to make a quick filter that when my users come to this list, if they click it, it will only show issues assigned to them. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to add a custom JQL toggle right here, and it works very similarly and it's built out to the smart labels. So I'm going to do assignee equals current user, hit enter, and you see at the top of my list, I get that quick filter. Now again, it doesn't look very nice, so I can change its name up here. And there you go. If you want that filter to be applied automatically when users come to the dashboard, before you click Save Gadget, you can click on the filter and the list will automatically load with that filter applied. You don't have to do this, it's just an option, but I'm going to unclick it. And you can continue to add multiple quick filters as you'd like. All right, so some final things for this as well are display options. So you have ways to customize your list a little bit more. So if you want to add more issues that display per page, you can do that here. You can also turn on alternating row colors. There's a lot of options. You can just expand the sections to see what's there. And then last, you can add a description to your list. I'm going to give it a title before I save it. And then I will save the gadget. So now we have the custom charts gadget on this dashboard and the issue list gadget on the dashboard with smart labels and quick filters. Okay, the last gadget I'm going to add in the demo here is the simple search gadget. This might be my favorite out of the gadgets because it makes the dashboard a little bit more interactive and flexible for your team. So to add in simple search, I'm going to click Add Gadget up here, type it in, and click Add. So simple search allows you to pull in any saved Jira filters you've made already, or to create new ones right in the gadget that you can then apply to all of the reports that exist on the dashboard. Now, it's optional. You don't have to apply it to every single one. Maybe filters only make sense for 2 of your custom charts or 2 of your issue lists. You can definitely adjust which reports can be filtered, but a lot of teams do use this as just like a general dashboard filter. So as we saw before, all of our charts and lists have to have a source. Well, I want this simple search to be used on my custom charts gadget that I built. What I'm going to have to do in order to get the filters to update that chart is I'm going to have to go into the custom charts gadget after I've built this out and update its source to be simple search. So when we were looking at custom charts earlier, you saw that it had in the advanced section 2 options, structures and simple search. So we're going to go in and adjust the custom charts gadget after we build out simple search so we can connect the 2 together. All right, so I want to display the same issues on my custom charts gadget as I originally planned. So what I'm going to do is set the source of simple search to be those same projects. So you can see here, again, this is not a report simple search. This is just a set of filters that I can then use on my reports I link it to. So in your live preview, you're really just going to see some dropdowns, the dropdowns that represent your filters for the dashboard. To adjust the filters, on the right-hand side, you'll add in simple search fields. We give you these 5 already. These are just pretty common ones. And this one's going to work really well. A lot of these are going to work really well for our dashboard because it is representing several different projects in Jira. So this project dropdown is going to be great for users if maybe they only work on 1 or 2 projects. They can go into the dropdown when this is published and click their 2 projects, and it will update the custom charts report to only show issues in those 2 projects. We're going to take a look at that in real time once I publish the dashboard. The other options here are Jira fields. So if you want to add in priority, for example, you can click add another field and then type in priority, click it, and you see it adds it as a dropdown in your live preview. If you want to reorder things, maybe you want this search bar to be at the bottom, you can drag it down and it shows at the end of your filters. You can also write a filter right in the gadget with a JQL statement, Or you can pull in a save filter that you've already made. So we're going to do this. I'm going to click Save Filter. You can either add a single specific filter as a save filter, or this multi-select option allows your users viewing the dashboard to choose any Jira filter that they have access to and use it to filter the reports. So I'm going to choose multi-select, and you'll see it's a drop-down of all the filters that I can see. Now, again, I'm in the live preview here. This just gives you an idea of what this is going to look like when you save this. You're not really doing any adjustments over here. All the adding of filters and everything like that is going to be on this right-hand side. So a couple things to note. You do have display options once again. So you have this toggle here. You can turn this off and on. What this allows your users to do is this plus sign right here. When this is saved to the dashboard and users are actually looking at it, they can use this plus sign to add their choice of fields as filters to the dashboard. So if you want to limit that, maybe you don't want your users to be able to add their own filters in, you can always toggle this off and they won't be able to do that. Now, as a note, when a user does throw in a field, if they're viewing the dashboard, if they're not editing this gadget, if they're just looking at it and they throw in a filter in Simple Search, it's only going to show up on their dashboard. And as soon as they refresh that dashboard, that filter will disappear. So it's not permanent if you allow users to add fields in view mode. It's not going to save it to the gadget setup. I just like to remind people of that. Because it does really give your users some flexibility as they're viewing the dashboard. All right, so I'm going to leave it on. You do have some other options here. All of our gadgets, as a note, do allow for dark mode. Just want to call that out as well. You can also add a description to Simple Search. What I'll often do is I'll say what Simple Search does in the description. So I'll say, use the drop downs to filter the dashboard reports. Just because it gives some clarity around what these filters can do. And you can add it to the top if you want. You can also put that in your title if you'd rather. So you can throw that up here, or you can change the title of the gadget. So I'll copy this and I'll also throw it up here just so you can see what that looks like. The final thing that we'll cover in Simple Search are these tabs. So tabs allow you to create essentially like a folder of filters. So let's say you have a variety of types of projects in your Jira instance and you're displaying those on a report. Your users that are in the development project may not need to see and filter by the same data as your users that are working in a finance project or a support project. So what you can do is group their necessary filters into different tabs so that they can easily get the filters they need. You do not have to add tabs if you don't want to. This is just an option. It's really great for bigger organizations as well that are filtering a lot of data and have a lot of teams, for example. This first tab, I'm going to name it just General Filters. The next tab, though, I'm going to make this very specific to a support team. So I'm going to click Add Tab right here. And you see, now in my live preview, there's that second tab. So I'm going to name this one JSM Filters. And now if I go back to columns over here, I can actually adjust the filters that appear in this tab. They can be totally different from the ones in my General Filters tab. Maybe I don't want the Save Filters dropdown on here. I'll get rid of it. Maybe I also don't want issue type. I actually want request type. I'll get rid of this and then add another field and type in request type. And you can continue to do this if you want. You can create several different tabs. As a note too, we did kind of see this in issue list with the quick filters, but in Simple Search, if you click into a filter in your live preview and set a value, all of the charts that are attached to this Simple Search will automatically load with that filter applied. So just something to note, but this could be a really great one if you really just want your team to see all open issues when they come to the dashboard, and then they can filter to see the closed ones if they want. You can go into the status dropdown, for example, and select only the in-progress issues. You've also got search operators down here. So we built out simple search. So I'm going to save it. And I haven't published this yet, so I can still kind of like play around with this before I actually open this up to my dashboard viewers. So I'm going to do that right now just to show you how this works. I want to filter down this report to only show the issues in the Android Scrum project. If I go into this dropdown right now and check off that value, you'll notice it doesn't update anything on here. And that's because I have to link this report essentially to my set of filters. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm just going to hover over the gadget, click Edit Configuration, and you don't need to expand it for this purpose because we're just going to do a quick update to tie these two gadgets together, and I'll just update its source. So I'll click in here and click Simple Search Gadget, and then I will find the one that I just added right here, and then I'll click Save Gadget. Now I'm going to publish this dashboard. We've got all three of the gadgets in. They look good. They're ready to go. We want our users to be able to interact with this dashboard. I'm going to hit Done. And I'm going to show you what your users can do with the filters. So now when I go to the project dropdown right here and I check off the Android Scrum project, you'll see that it updates my chart. And then as a note too, I am in the dashboard view of this dashboard. So this dashboard is not in edit mode right now. I'm just a viewer looking at this. So you see, as I mentioned before, your users viewing the dashboard can add their own filters in if this plus sign is enabled. So I'm viewing this, I just click it. I maybe want to add in also created date as a filter. I can type it in, click it, and I can now use it on my dashboard. And it's not going to impact anybody else's dashboard. Even as I'm going through and applying these, it's not going to impact anybody else's dashboard. And now when I refresh, you'll see that these filters are no longer applied. Okay, so the last item in the webinar is to talk about how Custom Charts integrates with several of the other Tempo products. The first one is its integration with Structure. So when you're editing a Custom Charts gadget or an issue list gadget, as you might remember, you do have an option in the source dropdown to pull in structures. This links directly to Structure, and any structures that you have access to, you can set as the source, and it will display the issues in that structure or in multiple structures on the list or on the report. Now, this is really great because before this integration, what you would have to do to pull in the issues that lived in your specific structures is you would either have to make a save filter that listed those issues, or you'd have to write a custom JQL query in the gadget to get it to display those specific issues. So this is nice. It's going to save you some time. So if you click structures, it will then pull in the structures you have access to. If you select it, it will load in the data that lives in that structure or multiple structures. Okay. So it's the same way in custom charts. If you want to have structures as your source there, you will see that as the source. You can also do it for simple search. This also touches timesheets and data from some of the other original Tempo products. So for example, if you want to see time spent on issues, you can look at that. You can see the work log author. If you want to see who's logged time to issues, you can even see that range of dates they've logged time. You can also access some account data as well if you are using accounts in timesheets. So on this slide, we have a lot of great resources so you can continue to learn more about custom charts and get the most out of it. We have tutorial videos on YouTube, a help center that you can go to that has user guides on it. We also have a link to our support portal on here. If you aren't using custom charts yet and you want to learn more about it from our sales team, you can also come here to contact sales for a demo.